Let's get started. As always, if you're on YouTube, if you can see me in my car window, you know that I am not AI. Lock this car. Welcome to Speaking Smashinese. And just so you know, Smashinese is a term I created in college that simply means the language of lovemaking, or the language of making out, or the language of intimacy. For most people, college is obviously a place where many people begin to experiment and find themselves in the bedroom, right? And I was no exception. I also want to add that if you're listening on an audio podcast, I am actually walking right now in real time. Walking in real time right now as I'm recording this podcast. I guess you can consider me your free walking buddy who loves to talk about relationships, personal finances, self-improvement, family life, etc., etc. Please, if you can hear my voice, consider walking with me while listening, because the fitness aspect of this podcast just might be the most important part. Today, we will be talking about why walking, what we're doing right now, just might be the new love language. And yes, guys, I'm outside. I'm in the street. If you're on YouTube, you can see that. And there are hills. I will be out of breath. I am suffering right along with you guys if you're walking as well. Today, we will be talking about why walking might be the new love language. Like I said, because we're living in a time where everything has, I said everything. Everything has an artificially inflated price tag. Cars are double what they are worth. I'm sorry, I said it. Homes are double what they are worth. If you're a homeowner, I apologize, but this is the truth that I choose to accept. And on top of all of this, dates, going out with somebody still cost money. Fun experiences still cost money. Most leisure activities that you might do with another person as you're trying to get to know them still Come on, class. Still cost money. Quality time. Poor old quality time. Quality time is starting to look like reservations, tickets, and and receipts with big, depressing numbers on them. And quietly, that's changing how people connect. But not just financially. It's changing how people connect psychologically as well. So, without me promoting the beauty and indisputable utility, right? Indisputable, yeah, you can't really argue with me on this one, in my opinion. The indisputable utility of the Speaking Smashinese podcast. Applaud, please. Thank you. I appreciate all the support. I came up with this question for you guys today. What if one of the most powerful ways to connect is completely free? But hold on. Before we go any further, let's make something clear. Despite me using the term love language in the title for this episode, walking together is not, I want to clarify that, is not a love language. But if you are new to the show, we already covered love languages in a previous episode. So the next time you want to sneaker up or walk in your living room, please check that episode out. Yes, I have a 30-pound vest on, and the hills are brutal. So, if you're already part of our walking and talking crew, you know that love language is about A, how you receive care, B, how you recognize care. Walking is something different. Walking is I could say activity, because it's an activity, right? But let's get a little bit more philosophical. Walking is an environment that makes connection easier to happen, okay? Because of what can be accomplished with walking, I think it transcends just being called a freaking activity. Think about it this way. When was the last time you had a a great conversation, and you were moving at the same time. And look, the underlying reason for me asking this question is way more important hello doggy, wherever you are, is way more important than you might think. Let's talk about why this super matters right now. Let's keep it real. People, and yes, I'm absolutely including myself, are pulling back, pulling away from expensive outings, mood vacations. And I just kind of define a mood vacation as you just felt like doing something different today. So you're gonna go to the beach for one night. Okay, so not a true vacation, but you just felt like doing it. Hey, let's go to the beach. All right? People are pulling back from high pressure dates and things like the Taylor Swift concert, Beyonce concert, Chris Brown concert, The Weeknd concert, Justin Bieber concert. Okay? People are pulling away from the constant paid entertainment. There you go. Okay? Entertainment that you have to pay for in order to experience. Not just because they want to, guys, but because they have to. And here's what happens when money leaves the equation. Okay? So I said all of that to not make it the end of the world, but it might make you down, feel down, a little depressed. But when money leaves the equation, because we're still going to meet people, you are forced to learn about the other things that actually create connection. And I know there's a lot of people anyway that would argue there's nothing connecting about going to a Beyonce concert, right? And for those of you that can see me, as I'm struggling with these hills and this vest today, right now, while we are speaking, I want to say that I believe that walking does some amazing things. In my opinion, walking does something subtle but powerful. What kind of things, Coach? Come on now. I can barely breathe right now. What's amazing about suffering? I'm walking in a hilly area too. Walking removes performance. And by performance, I mean showing off or flexing or being extra. Walking removes the pressure or stress of finding ways to afford spending quality time with other people. And this is a big and, unlike going to a gym or a fitness club, walking also removes expectation. Think about it. Walking is just walking. You get what you get. There's no competition while I'm just out here walking. If you're watching on YouTube, sometimes a 364-year-old woman will walk past me, and guess what? That's perfectly fine. I don't care. It doesn't bother me, and I don't think to speed up so I can overtake her because I'm a few days younger, right? It doesn't matter, all right? I'm out here for a different reason. I'm getting the benefit no matter what, and I'm sure if I took this vest off and put it on her, it would change the balance. It would change the balance of power, at least a little bit. And chat, people, guys, walking buddies, walking friends. When you're walking with someone else, you kind of feel like it feels better or less intimidating. Have you ever done something that you didn't want to do, but being distracted just made it seem like it just simply didn't take that long? I've always told myself and friends, one job that I could never do is sit in a booth as a security guard all day long. Most of those jobs don't let you wear headphones or earphones, AirPods. You have to sit there and binge on absolutely nothing. That is not cute to me. It's beyond boring. It's just time seems to be multiplied, and I don't like it. When you're walking with another person, because these walks, I'm deliberately doing things that are going to be hard because I'm trying to set an example. I'm trying to be a true walking buddy, okay? I'm trying to challenge myself. I'm trying to challenge you guys. Before I even leave the house to go wherever it is I'm going to walk for the day, the intimidation has already started. Because I know I'm going to put this stupid vest on and walk somewhere that's not entirely flat. But even though I'm not physically with you guys right now, I am recording this podcast. And knowing that I have to pace myself, watch out for vehicles, stray pit bulls, rabid squirrels that might want to come and beef with me. I still feel like I'm with you guys right now because I know people are listening. And that makes what I'm doing right now just a little less intimidating because I feel like I have company. This is a real thing. You might have felt it, you just probably never really knew why a distraction or company can make something feel less intimidating. Look at it this way. When you're sitting face to face, talking to someone, your brain is doing a lot. My psychology student supporters, y'all are gonna love this part of my suffering presentation. Your brain is working overtime when you're sitting face to face with someone. You're monitoring each other's eye contact. This is important. It's rude not to do that. You're trying to make sure your eye contact skills are on point. You know, those skills that we were never taught in the first place. You're sitting face to face with someone. You're interpreting facial expressions, right? Whether you realize it or not, when you're talking face to face with someone, you are actually managing social pressure. Did you realize that? Don't lie. Come on now. Did you realize that? It's intense. This is what I'm trying to say. And this is one of the reasons that so many people are introverts. This is one of the reasons that so many people have social anxiety. But when you walk side by side, let me say it one more time, congregation. When you walk side by side, I say when you walk side by side, let's say it for our Spanish speaking friends. Cuando caminas lado a lado, or some might say, cuando caminas con otra persona, when you walk side by side with another person, the brain relaxes. The brain relaxes. There's less direct pressure. There are more natural pauses, right? And in my opinion, should I say this? Yeah, whatever. I'll say it. It's my podcast, right? I would say that there's an easier emotional flow when you're side by side communicating with someone. Okay? That's not scientific, but This is how I see it. Because you're not being examined. Now, you may not be being examined in the first place, but sometimes face to face, it feels like you're being examined. And this is where the anxiety comes from in the first place. But then you might be thinking, well, I don't get it. You're just moving together, right? Yes. You're just moving together. And that is harmless. It's harmless, guys. There is no freaking pressure. Now, since I know most of you have never really thought about face-to-face conversations in this context before, I want you to ask yourself, do I feel, across the street, do I feel more comfortable opening up when I'm still sitting or when I'm in motion? Now, it's going to be a new question to a lot of people, because the crazy thing about this human behavior and this psychology stuff, until you start talking about it, there are so many things that humans do that we don't even think about it, okay? So not just we don't even think about, but we don't even think about. And you know, I'm a scientist, guys. So I have to go at least a little teeny tiny bit into the neuroscience of connection. And in psychology, the word neuro will almost always have the word dopamine explicitly nearby or implied, okay? Let's call dopamine the hormone of initial attraction. You like that? When you meet someone new, there's novelty, right? So there's a big old... I don't think dopamine sounds like that, but y'all get it. There's a big old dopamine spike. You become curious about someone in some way. And this brings about engagement. That's exactly what attraction is. And it all started in the brain with dopamine. But here's the problem. Most people chase dopamine instead of building connection. But walking slows that down. Walking shifts you from stimulation or the pursuit of instant gratification to interaction. And guess what? Interaction is a very, very rewarding thing. And this brings me to something called, and I promise I will not get too technical, but there are listeners, there are walkers with us that at least want me to touch on a little bit of the science to help bring these ideas together. There's something called mirror neurons. mirror, mirror. Like the one you look in every morning to see your beautiful face. And again, these terms are not important, guys, ladies and gentlemen, chat, for you to become fluent in speaking Smashinese. This just means, how can we break mirror neurons down in the simplest possible way? Here we go. Shared experience. Okay? These are terms that everyone can understand. That's all mirror neurons speaks to, is shared experiences. Like this. When you and another person walk at the same pace or move in the same direction together, your brain is doing something fascinating. It starts syncing. Okay? You like that word. I can hear some of y'all. You like that word. Your brain starts syncing. Mirror neurons, the shared experience neurons, they fire when you do something and observe someone else doing that same thing. So now, you're not just talking to that other person anymore. You are co-experiencing. Thank you. You are co-experiencing. Look at it this way. Picture two people. It's funny. I'm about to say this because if you can see me on YouTube, you can see the pain in front of me. Another uphill situation. But picture two people walking uphill. Thank you, Hill, for giving me this idea. I mean, a crazy, big, stupid, ignorant, obnoxious, ugly hill. Both of them, like I'm about to start doing, are breathing heavier. Both of them are forced to slow down. I have already slowed my pace, not to match my narrative or for any theatrics. This is more difficult than walking on a flat surface. All right? But two people are walking, and magically, both of them adjust their pace at the same time. Because I guarantee you, if you were walking with me up this hill with a 30-pound vest on, you would slow down with me as well. If not, you're a lot stronger walker than I am. Congratulations. But this happens with two people because the hill is kicking rump. The hill is spanking bootay without using any words. These two people are actually saying to one another, we're in this together. And that matters. Because when you go through something difficult with another person, there's a hidden bonding mechanism, right? There's a hidden bonding mechanism that is triggered. And let me tell you, as I'm 2 weeks into this podcast, almost 2 weeks, I think this is day 13. A brisk, challenging walk is no exception to this. Okay? Do it together, and this hidden bonding mechanism will be triggered. Maybe not on a school track, okay? A flat surface, but do it this way, the way I'm doing it, and it almost goes without saying that this bonding mechanism is going to be triggered. And remember, I'm not saying both of you are going to look into... It's making me laugh. I'm not saying both of you are going to look into each other's eyes and there's going to be music playing in the ether, right? And you're going to say, we're in this together. Remember, at this point, you're side by side. So you're not even necessarily looking at one another. But you're going to know, like, there's going to be a feeling. So I'm describing that feeling. And that feeling is we're in this together. And that matters. That matters. Okay? Now, this is what some psychologists call flow state. All right? And there's a lot of words for it. It makes me think of, I remember watching the movie Rise back in the day. And it's a group of dancers from California. I think Compton, Los Angeles. And they created this dance called crumping. And when they do it, when they crump, if you don't know what it is or you haven't heard of it, crump, Krump, okay, crump dance. The guy, this huge advocate for it, Tommy the Clown, all right, would go to different neighborhoods, and people battle. But crumping is almost a spiritual experience. And watching this and being interested in psychology ever since I was a child, they would call it getting buck or whatever, right? To me, it described flow state. And there's this moment that happens on a good walk. Where conversation seems to flow. Time seems to disappear. You're not forcing anything at this beautiful time. That's flow state. A state where attention is fully engaged, where the experience is rewarding, where the benefits are mutual, where tuning out ambient noises, the conversations of other people is almost automatic. You almost can't hear what's going on. What I'm trying to say is the connection feels natural. And here's the key. Flow is bonding. Not because of what's said during the walk. So let me make sure I'm clear about that. And I'm saying walk, but obviously side by side. It could be a run. It could be a jog. It could be a biking session. Okay? So whatever you're doing that's challenging with another person. Flow is bonding because of how it feels. So bonding is not about what you're saying to one another. And I hope that distinction is clear. But I can almost see some of your faces right now, looking for just a little bit more clarity. You're almost there, coach. I'm trying, coach. All right? But this is already a long walk, coach. Help me out, coach. Can you dig a little deeper? Okay. Have you ever lost track of time with someone, like, without trying? I alluded to this earlier. Okay? You just lost track of time. You guys met up, let's say 6 p.m., and before you know it, it's midnight or later, or the sun is about to come up the next day. And this is where it gets deep. Okay? Let's because if that happens, right? If you say yes to what I just asked, then attachment is manifesting. So, perfect segue. Let's talk a little bit about attachment styles. it is another layer deeper than where I expected to go in today's show, but I think it is important because we're talking about relationships, right? This is speaking Smashinese, okay? And we're trying to improve our intimate lives. There are two types of people. People who exhibit anxious attachment. Hold on, guys, let me cross the street. Okay, where was I? People who exhibit anxious attachment and people who exhibit secure attachments. We have anxious and we have secure. The anxious attachment person needs reassurance. The anxious attachment person fears, and I mean fears, disconnection. Oh, and they overthink signals. Which can be a problem. I'm clearly on another hill, guys. You hear my speech changing and my footsteps slowing down. Another hill. When these anxious attachment people overthink signals, that is a major problem because high pressure environments exacerbate all of this. And if that word is unfamiliar to you, exacerbate simply means to make worse. Okay? You exacerbate something, you make it a lot worse. Okay? So think about now understanding the definition. High pressure environments exacerbate or make worse all of the other issues that this anxious attachment style person has to deal with. So it makes overthinking worse. Yeah, I just said overthinking makes overthinking worse. Like it's self-destructive. But having a conversation while doing this lovely thing we call walking, it actually reduces pressure. It gives both people space to connect. It gives both people space for clarity, right? Clear thinking, a space to breathe, a space to exhale. It gives them space to regulate. But we talked about two types, right? Anxious attachment and secure attachment. So what about the secure attachment person? This person is already comfortable with closeness. This person already doesn't panic during those quiet moments, right? Those moments of silence. You're on the phone. Oh my gosh, nobody's saying anything. What are we going to do? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I don't know what to say. Please say something. The secure attachment person, they build connection steadily without overthinking things. That's the main difference. It's how their brain is processing what's going on in real time, and you're either chill about things or you're not. Okay? Anxious or secure. And think of secure as calm. Think of secure as regulated, smooth. Okay? What we're doing, hopefully, you're doing it with me. What we're doing right now, walking, naturally aligns with the secure attachment style person. So if you looked at what I said about the secure attachment style and you said, well, that's either how I am, how I'd like to be, or the type of person that I would like to deal with, which means you looked at it as a positive thing, then it is. Good morning. It is a positive thing, okay? Walking, then, let's keep it real, is a positive thing. There you go. Thank you. No, it's fine. It's fine. You don't have to pat me on the back. Walking is a positive thing. Walking is steady. Walking is low pressure. And walking, I'm talking about together, chat, okay? Walking creates a consistent connection. How many things do that? How often or how difficult? How much more difficult is this when you're just sitting there across from one another in a restaurant or at a table or something like that? So now, you might be wondering, which attachment style are you? The secure attachment type or the anxious attachment type? Which one are you? Ask yourself, do I need intensity to feel connected? Or do I need consistency to feel connected to a person? And that's it. Let me repeat it. Just in case you were coughing or sniffing like I am out here walking. If you want to know what your attachment type is. You want to know, are you the anxious attachment type or the secure attachment type? There are cheat codes for most of what I speak about on this podcast. Simply ask yourself, do I need intensity, craziness, confusion, fun, super fun, drama to feel connected to another person? Or do I need consistency to feel connected to another person? And you'll get your answer. Intensity equals anxious. And consistency, do I even need to finish? Consistency equals secure. And by the way, if you're not new and you've already been part of the community, part of the club, you'll know that typically I'm taking breaks, if you want to call it a break, right? To do push-ups or other forms of calisthenics or squats or whatever. And today, I am not. I do take one day to rest my body from all of the push-ups and squats and stuff. New people, when you listen to the next episode, because I'm hoping that you're going to join. If you're on YouTube, I'm hoping you've already hit the like button. You've already decided to share and subscribe to the channel. With that said, ¿qué más? Dime qué más. What else? Tell me what else. Okay? I'm saying that some people I just walked past, I met on another day, and I was telling them about the podcast. And they were like, it has to be hard trying to do that while you're walking. I said, yes. They said, why? I tried to explain why. And they said, ¿y qué más? Almost like, and like, what else? There has to be another reason. Like, is somebody paying you? No, absolutely not. Okay. Have you been thinking about what your attachment style is? Great. You should know. I simplified it. While we're walking today, I also want to talk about the power of shared challenge. Yes, I'm being challenged right now with another hill. The power of shared challenge. Because I don't hear podcasters talking about it. And I believe it is very underrated. It is very ignored. doing something slightly difficult together. And I mean something that is not extreme, not dangerous. So I'm not talking about mountain climbing, base jumping, wingsuit flying. What else? Craziness that I'm not interested in. Cave diving, ice climbing, bungee jumping. Listen. What else do I refuse to do in the name of loving my life? Big wave surfing, okay? Yeah, I'm gonna run this one in the hole. I could have been stopped. All of that craziness that I mentioned. I'm talking about things that are slightly difficult, but still sane enough that they don't put your life at risk. Okay? All right? Thrill seekers that may be listening, more power to you. And there's a difference between chasing dopamine and chasing adrenaline. IJS. I'm talking about things like a long walk, a long hilly walk, or just a single steep hill, right? Where it's going to take forever or feel like forever to get to the top of it. I'm talking about this other nonsense that I'm doing right now, walking in a vest or rucking, okay? Which is actually a military term, okay? Where we had to wear rucksacks or our heavy backpack, if you will, okay, while marching or while training or while hiking. It makes walking insanely more challenging. And why am I bringing this up? Why am I saying all of this? Because when you do these things with another person together, something happens. Because shared effort creates shared meaning. In a weird fairy tale sort of way, when two people, let's call them Jack and Jill, only because I said fairy tale. Yeah, okay. When Jack and Jill are walking, and I mean suffering, kind of like I am right now, and they reach the top of the hill, they're both slightly tired. They're both slightly proud, right? It's hard to be really, really proud when you realize how out of shape you are or unconditioned you are. But they look at each other at the top of that hill and they may not always say, but they're definitely thinking at each other, okay? So if telekinesis, telepathy, if they could speak with their minds, if that was a thing, they'd both hear the other person say, We did that. Oh my gosh. Jack, we made it to the top of this hill. I know, Jill. How cool was that, Jill? Awesome. And at that moment, right there, when you both realize that you accomplished something difficult together, that's not attraction. Okay? Listen to me now. That's not attraction. That's bond formation. That is bonding 101. So remember, walking is not technically a love language. It's a connection accelerator. It creates the conditions where love can grow, where attraction can manifest, where trust can form, where vulnerability can start to happen, where walls can start to come down, and where people can actually be seen. And look, chat, whether you are walking with someone or not, if romance, intimacy is the agenda, don't interrogate the person that you're walking with on this beautiful walk. Let the topics, the subjects, let the things you talk about evolve naturally. And because you're not sitting there looking at each other's face, silence is okay. So, because you're not looking into each other's face, it should feel a lot less awkward. You're not trying to impress the other person. You're trying to experience the other person. And I might be biased because of my podcast, but at the end of the day, connection doesn't need a ticket. Connection doesn't need a reservation. Connection doesn't need 60, 70, 80,000 other people there with you because it's some massive event. Connection doesn't need a receipt, right? Connection doesn't even need a perfect plan. Sometimes it just needs two people willing to move in the same direction at the same time. So, next time you're thinking about how to connect with someone, ask yourself this question. Do I need something impressive, or do I need something real? Keep walking, guys. I appreciate all of you that have either downloaded the podcast or have subscribed on YouTube. I appreciate you more than you know. I drop episodes daily because I need to be out here walking daily. Please keep moving towards the most impressive, happy, healthy version of yourself. And as you're working on it, and when you feel you've reached your goal, you'll find that intimacy is a much more beautiful thing than you thought, than you could ever think. You're listening to the Speaking Smashinese podcast and YouTube channel. I'm your host, Coach Sumo, and that's it for this episode. Thanks, guys. Ciao.